5 lessons I wish I knew before building muscle, because the reality is, gents, we all want to chase size, but believe me, it comes at a cost, especially when you're doing it the wrong way. Now, I've spent like 10 years in this game. A good chunk of it was chasing size, because once upon a time, I wanted to be a bodybuilder. Because of this, you know, it took me down a route of taking androgens for a good 3 years. And there was a time where I was going to step on stage. I was like 60 weeks into my prep and things didn't go the way they planned. Health took a hit, but this had to happen because now it's put me on a path of understanding health and biology on a deeper level in physique development. Let's get into it. Lesson 1, building muscle is not just a calories game. It's the truth. Most of the time, we are led to believe that the more food you eat, the more muscle you'll build. And that could not be further from the truth. Most of the time, this is the information given by your local meathead saying, just get your calories in, bro. But without context, most people just go and eat whatever the fuck they want, whenever they can, just to try and get calories in. And they don't realize they're doing more harm than good. Because the reality is, this is determined, one, by your starting point and how well you can actually break down and utilize food. Now, if your starting point is in a poor position, which we'll get onto that in the next topic, you'll understand that it's just not a calories game. Because more food doesn't magically mean more muscle. That's just not how it works, because this is determined by the likes of your genetics. And that is just the reality, gents. Like, if your genetics are mid, you're not going to be able to grow muscle at a faster rate, especially by food. Your genetics dictate this, as well as your internal health and how you function. And you've got to understand that not everything you consume is going to be turned into something useful. Now, if you've got issues like malabsorption issues, cofactor issues, mineral deficiencies, vitamin deficiencies, digestion problems, you know, this is going to account to how your body processes this food and uses it as energy. And it actually shows how well and effectively you break down nutrients. Now, you do not need to be in a massive calorie surplus to build muscle. For some reason, we're led to believe that the more calories you consume, the more muscle you'll build. As long as we see numbers go up on scales, we're building muscle, bro. And that is the wrong approach. Me personally, I prefer the steadier approach. Anywhere between 0.8 to 1.2 pound per week is more than enough to build clean, added tissue. Because reality is, gents, if you ascend the calories up, body fat's going to follow. Now, when the body fat comes, this is going to then make it harder for you to utilize and leverage off that food and even partition it to how you want. And again, it's about building muscle, right? And I know building muscle, you don't build muscle in a poor environment, especially if insulin resistance up, as well as body fat. Now, starting off, as you can imagine, most young lads do this, and this is why I'm getting this message out. I did the exact same thing, chasing nothing but calories. You know, my performance was off, digestion was in the bin for a very long time, my sleep wasn't great, my body comp was awful, I was just getting softer and softer, I wasn't actually building muscle. So I guess the message I'm trying to get across to you guys here is more food doesn't equal more muscle. It's a case of more food at the right amount of time given to the right body comp will obviously be your advantage to build muscle. Lesson 2. Your starting point literally dictates how successful your gaining phase will be. This is a mistake a lot of lads make. I've done it myself. You want to get straight to gaining. I get it, we all want to gain, we want to make improvements, but if your starting point is piss poor, believe me, you're going to make things hard for yourself when it comes to building muscle. It determines everything. How well you can recover, how well you can partition food, how well you can perform for, and how productive your gaining phase will be overall. That's a bit like your gaining phase. The far greater the runway, the better you have for building momentum to then obviously take off. Now, if you start in a poor place, the runway is obviously going to be smaller for takeoff. And the chance of you crashing are going to be far greater because you don't have the runway for it. And this is what you guys do with your gaining phases. You don't give yourself enough runway, and before you know it, you're back to dieting again because the runway wasn't great enough. It didn't have the miles in it for you to get that momentum in the first place. Very simple. When body fat is high, the chance of you building muscle are far less. And this is because body fat's increased, health markers are skewed, digestion is going to be impaired, and the likes of recovery, and so is performance. And this isn't really a healthy environment to start building muscle. Sometimes the best thing you can do before a gaining phase is just not to start it yet. Sometimes you need to drop the body fat. This will drop inflammation, then it'll bring down your health metrics. Bring down your health metrics, the body is more coherent. And then the likes of your sleep will improve, your digestion. And then your body can actually utilize food better because you're more insulin sensitive from bringing down body fat. Now that to me is where you want to be, because when you start to introduce more food, you can handle it better. And then you can leverage off the food intake. and use it to your advantage. That, to me, is a more productive gaining phase instead of just chucking the kitchen sink, especially with calories, expecting to grow. Now, lesson 3, training is about execution, not just numbers, especially on a logbook. Now, it's easy to fall into these trends, you know, what to do, what split. I get it, but you must do what works for you. And that is it. And getting stronger doesn't automatically mean you're building more muscle, because we've both seen it for ourselves. There's lads out there very fucking strong, yet have very little muscle, vice versa. And this is because training is more than just numbers going up. Am I getting stronger? We seem to get in this trend quite a bit where if you're getting stronger, you're building more muscle. Absolutely not. We have to understand training on a deeper level. Are you executing that rep to the given area? Like, are you doing that with accuracy? And this is what I mean by accuracy. I'm not just saying fine tune the angle and everything you're doing it with. It's about the accuracy you're able to target that muscle group overall. That is accuracy. So I guess the message I'm trying to get across here is strength alone isn't the full picture. We want to be looking at the load. Are we directing that load to the given muscle? Are we executing properly? What are the quality reps like? Are they quality reps? Are we doing it with accuracy? Are we, you know, progressing this lift over time? As we're progressing the lift, are we doing that with the same quality reps? These are all things you've got to ask yourself. It's not just a case of, oh, I got stronger last week, numbers have gone up. And when I talk about training accuracy, I mean, how well can you be accurate with that load given? How well can you connect to that muscle? That is literally what accuracy is about. Personally, no one will ever understand this unless you self-perform in that rep. So what feels right for you might not feel right for the next person, but it's about understanding the accuracy of it. If you're able to direct that load to that muscle and do that continuously throughout whilst keeping intensity, effort, and accuracy within your reps, I mean in your tempo, the way you control it, of course, that to me is accuracy. And that's how you build muscle. Big mistake most guys make, especially young lads, is chopping and changing their exercises, the workouts every fucking week. Now, we both know in order to get really good at something, you have to be doing it for a long period of time, that given exercise. When you pick a selected training block, that training block can last up to 22 weeks plus. You don't need to be changing it every week. What you need to be doing is finding exercises what align with you. So don't be copying your favorite bodybuilder, using the machines he uses because of it, because your biomechanics and his biomechanics may not align. So learn to do things for yourself. All I ask is find exercises that align with your structure, what you can perform at a safe rate, and you can get pretty fucking good at. That is it, and continue to execute. The last thing you want to be doing is wasting valuable time using exercises or machines you know don't connect well for you, but you're doing it because you've seen your favorite bodybuilder doing it. End of the day, we're here for your progress, no one else's. And it's very important you focus on selecting what works for you. Now, when we look at training splits, as we know, there's a lot out there, isn't there? You've got your push-pull legs, upper lower, bro split, you've even got full body. Now, I'm not against any of them, they all work. But I think it's very person dependent. The things I like to address when setting up someone's training is, what do they enjoy firstly? Like, what do they enjoy training? Exercise selection. We have to look at the volume, what they can recover from, what suits the lifestyle as well. Like, you can't have a guy who is struggling on time because he's a dad of 2, and you've got him on like in 20 to 25 sets in his sessions. Like, that's pretty time consuming. So for us, it's like, we have to understand people's lifestyle. At the end of the day, gents, it shouldn't be taking over your life. It should be grounding you in the process of leveling up. Lesson 4, listen to your body and respect recovery. Sounds simple, don't it? Yet still to this day, guys get it so wrong and they overlook it. Now, I'm all for training fucking hard. You guys do a really good job at this. You do that part really well. You train hard, you get your meals in, but the one thing you guys lack is respecting your recovery. Because if you don't do that, you're doing it backwards. You can't just be trashing your body in the gym and then expecting to grow. Because you need to recover to grow. And you can't separate growth without recovery. Because as we know, better sleep alone improves the likes of our body comp, energy levels, digestion, performance, the way we recover, everything. It has such a massive knock-on effect. It's probably the most anabolic tool we have in the locker, but yet we still don't use it to our advantage because we just overlook it, we take it for granted. So what I'm saying here is, get your recovery in, respect your sleep, and believe me, everything will improve. Doing more does not equal more results, not in this game anyway. You know, more volume is person dependent. You know, what can you recover from? Because if you give someone too much volume, this is going to increase the likes of fatigue. And now if their recovery isn't in a great spot, why the fuck are they doing too much volume already? Because we already know they can't recover from it. So I always say, like, ain't willing to respect the likes of recovery, I will remove volume away until they get recovery in a good spot. That way I know they're going to be able to recover still. If not, it makes no sense giving more volume. Now, when I say less is more, I'm not saying be a lazy bastard for the sake of it and do less. It's about knowing what enough is, meaning when to push, when to pull. How much volume do you need to still progress? And when you look at doing less, you're still going to perform with the same intensity, same accuracy, and same quality overall. It just means you have less opportunities overall. So you need to make sure you are doing this correctly. And we need to make sure the quality of volume is there so you can still progress your lifts, still build muscle, or whilst doing, I don't want to say as little as possible, but you know what I'm saying, just enough where you can still progress. Lesson 5. This is a hard pill to swallow, and I'm sure many guys will disagree, many will agree, but chasing muscle at the expense of your health. You have to ask yourself, fellas, is it worth it? You know, I see guys even today banging steroids and a lot of it in order to build muscle, and they're not really getting the response you would expect. You ask yourself, is it worth it? Because sometimes this can invite the likes of more stress, more pissed off body, more inflamed, bad skin, bad digestion. You know, your personality can even skew. For what? Building muscle. Now, if you're building muscle and you feel worse for it, you've missed the point, my guy. And don't get me wrong, you're gonna be in phases where body fat comes up. That's just gonna happen. That is the inevitable when you're in a gaining phase. And you're gonna be in phases where calories are gonna be stupidly high and your training is gonna be as hard as possible. But we know, and I'm fully aware myself, that these things is gonna invite the likes of inflammation. It's just about how you manage it. It's a bit like putting a fire out. That is exactly what we're doing in this process. Because to me, it should never be a case of building a physique whilst losing your health in the process, while your health is falling apart. That's not the goal here. Because honestly, what is the point? What is the point of having size if you ain't confident still? If your digestion is still a mess, blood work is getting worse, energy levels are fucked, getting up the stairs is a task. Like, this ain't part of building a physique. This means respecting the likes of your micronutrients, cardiovascular health, your blood work, your internal system. And don't get me wrong, I know people will be in the comment section saying, well, as bodybuilders, we get blood work done, but blood work will get worse. When you're taking something which is neurologically fucking you up, which it does, of course, it's gonna affect the likes of your blood work. That's just the reality of it, folks. So you have to improve all these things, because one thing externally looking good, but internally feeling and looking good as well is just as important. And this is why I say the goal should never be just get bigger, because it comes at a cost. And don't get me wrong, if you're trying to look just good in your clothes, feel a bit bigger, it doesn't require getting that big, believe me. It's just a case of consistency. And the goal should always be to build a physique without sacrificing your health in the process. That, to me, gents, is the real win. If I had to sum this up, this is the 5 lessons I wish I knew sooner, which you guys now know, which is, number 1, it's not just a calories game when it comes to build muscle. More calories doesn't equal more muscle. Number 2, your starting point dictates how successful your gaining phase will be. Number 3, your training is just about execution, not just numbers. It's all about execution. Numbers is just the bonus of it. The number 4, recovery matters more than people realize. And number 5, last but not least, health should never ever be sacrificed in the pursuit of leveling up your physique. And I wish my younger self knew this, because this would have saved me a lot of time, a lot of damage being done to the internal system. So if you're a young lad watching this, please take it seriously. For my young bucks out there, don't just chase only size. We are led to believe the bigger we get, we will feel more confident. And that could not be further from the truth. Take it from myself. I was 12 kg heavier at the time, my least confident. Tend to think the bigger we are, the more respect we'll command from others, and it's not the case at all. You don't have to be the biggest to feel like a stud muffin or even be confident. You want to be building a physique that supports you long term as well, and be patient with it. So to me, that is what creates a physique that lasts. So yeah, please take note, fellas.